horror movies are back. And coming from me, that really says a lot. I love horror films. They're my favorite genre. Anything horror like, I love. So whenever I hear that there's a new horror movie coming out, I want to see it immediately. It can be a good movie, it can be a bad movie. Regardless, if it's a horror film, I'm there. Even though, yes, I'm saying that this is a really good movie, I have some issues with it that kinda sorta hurt it a little bit. I'm not saying that it's the best horror movie that's out. It's one of the best horror films that's out, and I'm not saying like of this year because if I'm going to talk about the best horror movies of this year, yeah, this is the best horror movie of this year currently. But I also believe that this movie goes in my top 5 horror movies of all time. And that's putting it a little under, Talk to Me, which I still think is my favorite horror movie. So when I saw the trailer for Abigail, I was like already in. I immediately wanted to watch this movie. I was like, yeah, this is what we've been missing. It's a movie about these crooks end up kidnapping this little girl, and they find out that she's not just a little girl, but instead she's a vampire. And at first I was like, okay, it's kind of cheesy. We're back on the whole vampire type thingy, but they do it in such an interesting way that I instantly fell in love while I was watching the movie. Although I already knew what the movie was about, actually being in a theater and watching the movie, I was like, wow, like this is great. There's some jump scares here and there, and also some of the twists was like, this is pretty cool. And don't even get me started on this young actress. This girl is going to win an award. Like, if not from this movie, maybe some of her other stuff, but this little girl killed it. Normally, I'm not too big on young actors and actresses, but this girl did such an amazing job that I forgot that she was even a young girl. I kid you not. After I finished watching the movie and I went home, I had to look her up. And I was like, is this a child or is this an adult? She's very mature for her age, and I think that she really knows what she's doing. And you can't really say that a lot when it comes to kid actors. But no, if you don't watch this movie for anything else, make sure you watch it for her because, like I said, she's gonna get an award for something. She was creepy, she was funny, she was serious. Like, she just checked all the boxes for what I was expecting from this movie and more. Not just her, but everybody did an amazing job in this movie. She just happened to stand out above everybody. And, well, I mean, this was her movie. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to horror films, you kind of don't want that jokey, campy, feely kind of movie. But with this movie, they mix in the comedy so well to where it doesn't bother you. I thought that I was going to get annoyed with some of the jokes, but it's just natural jokes. No one was forcing any jokes to come out. Everything just felt really natural, and it worked really well. Like, everything that people were saying felt believable, and especially for the kind of character that they were playing, it just went really well. There were some scenes that were supposed to be, scary, but it was funny, but it was also supposed to be scary and funny, if that makes sense to you. And it stays like that throughout the entire movie. And again, most movies, it's like a bit too comedic to the point where it's like, okay, can we like get on with the movie? No, this really adds on to the tone of this movie. Now, for all you blood and gore fans, yeah, there's a lot of it. Like, this movie is full of blood and gore. And I love blood and gore. So the way that they did this was really interesting to me. There's one scene towards the end of the movie where I was like, wow, this is a lot of blood. But it was really cool. They did it in a very creative way, and it wasn't just like, blood just to have blood, but, it meant something. It was very creative. This entire movie was just creative. Now, although I think this movie is really good, there's one thing that happened in the movie that kind of knocked it down a few points for me, which is why I'm not saying it's like my favorite movie of all time, but it is in my top 5 horror films. And without spoiling anything, there's a certain character in the movie that does something that wasn't really in their character. So it just felt kind of odd, and I guess they just kind of, forgot about how their character was portrayed throughout the movie. Or, maybe that's just me. Maybe I like looked too far into it, but I just felt like this person did something that wasn't a part of their character at all. And it didn't really make sense, and it's like, okay, why are you doing this? What's the point? What's your motivation? I wasn't understanding it, but it wasn't enough for me to hate the movie, but it was just enough for me to be like, scratching my head a little bit. But no, I think this movie is great. And I think that if you haven't already, you should definitely go check this movie out. Bring some friends. I'm probably going to watch this movie a few more times. And that's just how good it is. And if I watch a movie more than one time, It's a really good movie. In theaters. If I watch it more than one time in theaters, it's just that good. I'm so glad that horror movies are back this year. Like, good horror films. Because, you got movies like Night Swim, and it's just like, early horror films that just don't do good. Same thing with Imaginary. But this, Abigail, yeah, no, this is horror. Well, guys, if you've seen this movie or if you haven't seen this movie, let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I will greatly appreciate it. We are currently at 3,000 subscribers. And, like I said in my last video, I never expected to get to 3,000 subscribers, or at least as quick as I did. Obviously, I got there off of one of my videos that was nothing related to movies, but I'm happy that it happened, and I really do appreciate you guys for coming here, and then most of you guys engaging in my reviews. So thank you guys for being here. So again, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I will hopefully see you guys in the next one.
Sunway Review, take me on a cinematic journey through the highs and the lows. You bring movies to life.